Okay.
Okay.
So we're rolling.
We're rolling. Welcome back.
Welcome back to episode 2 of Reform My Mind podcast.
I know. This is mad. We're back here literally 2 days after.
It's so mad. It really is. And we were so overwhelmed with the response to our first episode.
We've had so many kind messages, guys, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, we've read through them all, and we were sending each other screenshots, weren't we? We were just like, oh my God, like, obviously it's our first episode and we didn't know what to expect. It's new, you know, it's not like we've been out there for a long time, but it's just so nice.
The response was overwhelming.
Yeah, we just want to thank everyone for just being super kind and just being like supportive, isn't it? And
yeah.
It's kind of a boost for us, really.
It is. And we had so many amazing questions again, didn't we? And responses to what we
there's
said.
So many questions, guys. I almost feel like I don't know where to start.
Yeah, I feel like we've got our episodes lined up for the next
few months. But everyone wants to know them now.
Yeah,
it's like, it's only so many things you can fit into an episode. And I feel like that's another thing that we don't want to answer questions like by rushing it.
Yeah, we want it to be meaningful, don't we? And we want to make sure that we're addressing each topic properly and in turn. I know. So how have you been anyway?
Oh, do you know what? I'm a bit tired today. I feel like I'm a bit like spaced out.
Oh, really? Why?
Yeah, I just not had a good sleep. It's been one of them days. But I woke up this morning, the sun is out. And you know what that means. When I see the sun, it's like, I'm back.
It makes you feel so much happier.
I know.
Doesn't it?
I looked outside the window and there was behind my flat there's a golf course, so I could just hear like pick. That's how I woke up. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And it was so nice, and just the sun, it was bright, and it just felt like a proper winter sunny day.
Makes everyone feel better, the sunshine.
How are you?
Doesn't it? I'm okay, actually. Yeah, I'm really well.
Full of beans?
Full of beans. I'm ready to go.
I came to the studio and Kay was like, right, we're ready. And I was like, oh my God, we're ready. I was like, I think I might need another coffee.
Yeah, well, I'm already on my third coffee today. So,
oh my God, there you go.
Yeah. Maybe that's what keeps me going, the caffeine. Yeah,
100%. How many coffees do you have a day?
Are you really asking me that? Do I really have to say this out loud?
I need to know.
Probably about 6. Is that? No, it's not.
Are they strong coffees, like short coffees, or?
They're strong coffees.
Wow, if I had 6 coffees, I would be like, I want to know what to do.
Maybe that's why I am like that. That's why I'm just throwing it out there.
I literally can only have about three max.
I've
3
got
coffees.
A cut off. I have got a cut off. Like 3 o'clock's my limit.
Right.
One after 3 o'clock.
It's the 5 o'clock for me. Like, you know, between 4 5, where I just think, just after I've picked up the kids from school, I just think, I could just do with a coffee right now. And I just think I'm not going to sleep. That's maybe why I don't sleep, because I have my coffees too late.
You know what? That's a big thing.
Like, I literally have my coffee at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that'll be why you're not sleeping.
And then at 12 o'clock in the night, I'm like, why can I not go to sleep?
Yeah. So I think following on from last week, we had so many questions and so many responses about when we were discussing being busy all the time and keeping yourself busy, and, you know, what does that mean? How does that impact your well-being?
Well, it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Because it's like your natural response to, you know, your well-being and how you're feeling inside is, let me be busy, because I don't want to, like we've spoken in the last episode, we don't want to think about our thoughts most of the times, and it's like a vicious circle. I think it's you always just want to be busy and just forget about the outside world. But I almost feel like, what do you think? Where is that healthy boundary of when do I know that I'm overdoing it, and when do I need to step back a bit and think, no, I need to chill a bit, because this is not okay for me right now.
I think, you know, it's really important, first of all, to examine what are you actually doing, because being busy in itself is is not really an issue if you're being productive. So people can be busy and be really productive, and that can actually improve your well-being. So if you're getting tasks done, if you're ticking off your tick list, if you're seeing family and friends and you have things planned and you're achieving tasks, well, that can be really productive for your well-being. That can really enhance your well-being because you're getting a sense of satisfaction, a sense of completion. But when it starts to impact your well-being is when you're just keeping yourself busy with lots of different things and maybe not getting stuff done. So it's a difference between being busy or being productive.
Oh yeah, that's a good point, isn't it? Because I feel like sometimes you do make yourself busy with just random things, even although maybe I've got something planned on the day. But then I'll just add things and add and do this and do that. And then you just end up overwhelmed at the end of the day.
Do. And I think that's part and parcel, though, of being a mum as well, isn't it?
Oh, no.
You've got that, like, mental load as well as all of the other jobs that you've got, especially if you've got a full-time job, you're a mum, you know, you're trying to keep fit, you're trying to stay
Trying to
healthy.
do everything.
You are, and that can be a lot to take in for anybody. And I think it's just about being mindful of what you're actually achieving in a day, because it can be so easy. You know, I lose hours and hours doing stuff, and then I'll look back and go, what have I actually achieved? You know, what have I actually done? And, you know, you're really good at focusing on kind of tidying, aren't you? Like, you focus on tidying one thing, whereas I think I would just go little bits around each and every room, and you're not
I see what you mean, like not actually finishing one room.
And it doesn't just have to be a room, you know, that's just an example. Cleaning is just one example, but it can be any tasks, you know,
like doing a little bit of everything rather than just focusing on one task. That's a good point, because I sometimes can get like that. I'm not always super focused where I would be like, okay, this is getting done, and then I'll go on to the next thing. I do have days where I'll go in the kitchen, pick up something, then I'll go into the bedroom, then do something else. Then I just end up going back to the bedroom and think, oh, I've not done anything, because it doesn't seem like you've done anything because you've not focused on that particular task. So I think we can all relate to that on everyday life, especially, as you said, as mothers. It's, oh God, it's almost like you just don't know where to start. It's constant. There's always one of your children that want you. You always have to take them to an activity after school. That's a big one. They're tired. They've been at school all day. They not necessarily want to go to, I don't know, swimming or something. It might be fun, but they're tired.
And where does it come into play that we feel that doing as many things as possible is the best thing to do? And does it
I've got quite an opinion on this. I don't know, obviously, if I might be wrong, you know, but I don't really agree with the parents that try and fit too many things for the kids in one day. So for example, let's not just focus on the school days, because that's already half the day that's busy for the kids. Let's see, like, weekends. You want to do activities with your children, which is fine, and I think you should, but maybe keep one of the weekend days, like maybe do something on a Saturday, like chill a bit, go for lunch, but then Sunday maybe just keep it for just trying and recharge your batteries, not only as a mother, but your children, because they can only go at a certain pace. They will burn out, even the children, basically.
This is such an interesting point, actually, because it ties in to this idea of perfectionism, doesn't it? And kind of keeping up with the crowd, or maybe comparing yourself to
like
others.
Go to this place or go to there.
And we find a lot of this is, you know, social media, always comparing yourself to other people, thinking, oh, well, so-and-so's doing this and I need to do that, or my child's not getting enough attention because I'm not taking them to this place, or I'm not taking them to that place, or, you know, these are people are going on holidays and we're not doing holidays. But in actual fact, you make a really great point that, again, we're going to come back to this quality over quantity.
Yeah.
It's not about cramming as many things in. It's about teaching your children as well that it's okay to have that downtime, that quiet reflection time.
It's giving them an example, isn't it? If they only used to, from a very, very young age, to just be going, in the morning we're going for a play day, at lunch we're going to this other activity, in the evening we're doing this and the other, they don't learn how to stop. And it's constantly like on that roll of when they get older, they, like we said, we just keep busy because we have to, because that's what we've done for pretty much half of our life. And I think it's important, like even to my children, my eldest, she just doesn't know how to chill. Like she gets, I want to be doing something, she comes from school, she says, yeah, but I want to go for a play day, I want to go and play with this and my friends. And I said, fine, we can do that maybe 2 or 3 days of the week where after school you go and have a play date, but not every day. You need to just learn how to sit down, watch a movie, relax, maybe play a game. You don't constantly have to just throw all these activities at your children because you feel like you're not good enough as a parent because you're not doing the millions of activities that other parents are doing. And like you said, social media, I mean, I'm guilty of it. I look at it and think, oh my goodness, look at this mum that has done about 1 million things today. And I've just been chilling at home with the children. But I've spent quality time with my children, though. That's another thing that a lot of people don't understand. Just being at home or going to someone's house and relaxing, you are spending time with your children. You don't have to be out doing things constantly.
I find that so interesting what you just said then, because I'm thinking about what you said on our last episode about how hard you find it to just chill. And you've just said your daughter finds it really difficult to just slow down and chill. And I'm wondering if there's a little pattern there.
100%. It's got to be. Obviously, she's probably seen me from a young age constantly just doing
Being
something.
busy.
And in all fairness, you've just said that. I've had Anya said to me a couple of times, "Mommy, just sit down with me and just watch a movie." And I'm going, I have to do the washing and I have to go.
And it's that mental load, isn't it, of constantly thinking that we have to be, you know, the perfect mom, the perfect wife, the perfect person. And it's this idea of perfectionism is also really linked to our self-esteem. It's our self-worth and it's how we validate ourselves. And that idea of constantly striving to do something more is really driven from how we were validated with. So particularly if we're thinking about our children and how we can instill those values into our children, it's about thinking what we appreciate about people and also about ourselves. So the whole world now is very much focused on extrinsic rewards. So it's all of that, you know, dropping that dopamine hit all of the time, you know, that scrolling on social media or thinking about what the best clothes are to wear or the ideal car or the best footballer or the best dancer. It's a constant focus on those external things that leads to this idea of perfectionism, and I'm not good enough unless I'm doing this or I'm showing this and I'm showing that. And in
that's so interesting.
Yeah, what you really need to be focusing on is validating some of those internal values. You know, so how do you compliment your children? How do you validate their worth? How do you validate your own worth? Is it always, you know, oh, you look great or you are great at football? Or is it really, you're such a kind person, you know?
This really, I didn't really want to go into love languages, but now I am because you literally just said it. I think my love language is doing things for people. So for me, it's more like I'm not a very touchy, like affectionate person.
You're not a hugger.
I'm not a hugger, guys.
And it's so funny because I am a hugger. And she literally goes.
But in all fairness, when I do get close to someone, like the other day when we were editing, did you see me just going like that on your shoulder? And I was like, oh, like that was me just being like, yeah, I'm comfortable, you know, it's nice. But I won't overdo it.
Pat on the head.
It's fine. I love you. But it's more on the lines of like recognizing your love language as well. Because I think for me is definitely doing things for people, and it doesn't have to be big. It's just me saying to my daughter, I've just organized all your LOL dolls. Like, I've labeled them, I've done this. That it's me showing her my love for her and how much I care for her. And I know a lot of people's love languages are completely different, and that's another thing that we're going to go into in depth a little bit more. It's recognizing what your love language is, because I think some people don't know and get confused.
Yeah.
It's a big thing, isn't it? How you show love to someone else.
Absolutely.
In what ways?
You call it love language. I call it attachment style.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So our love language is ultimately how we are in relationships.
Yeah.
So it's how we relate to people, like you say, how you show affection, how you show that you're with somebody or you love somebody. And it all really stems from our attachment style and who we are and those learned kind of behaviors. So we all have a blueprint of how we respond and how we react to situations from our childhood and how we experience relationships in our childhood. And that kind of forms the basis.
That makes so much
how
sense
we
now. You've
respond
just literally
to
opened a
other
little door in
people.
my brain. I can't believe it now, because I'm thinking, okay, so why am I constantly feeling that I have to do things for people to show them love when I can just be like, well, I do love you.
Yeah.
I don't have to do it, but I do love you.
I'm wondering if, so maybe when you were younger, you were really celebrated for doing things. So I don't know, maybe you,
Like a job. Oh, yes.
like a job.
Yes, I
like
was.
you were rewarded for doing chores, for example, or
Yeah.
you were rewarded for being good, or, you know, doing well in school. Those extrinsic rewards. So you feel validated when you're doing things for other people, because that's how you were noticed and validated when you were younger.
Oh my God. Yeah, you've just... Wow, okay. Now I know what's happening really deep down. But it's so interesting, isn't it? If you look at it that way, because it all comes from somewhere. It's not...
Of course it does.
It's a pattern, like you said. And again, affection. If somebody is a bit more cuddly or likes to show affection, maybe they themselves, when they were little, were just absolutely smothered, and like, you know, and it's another thing which I'm now thinking how I am with my children on a day to day. And even although I might not be affectionate with everyone around me, I am very affectionate to my children. Like, I smother, like, I eat their face, literally. I can't get enough of them. And I'm just wondering if that is going to be what their love language is going to be when they're older, you know, in the way they see me being with them, and how would that impact their life in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, you know, we talk about attachment styles really, really loosely, because ultimately, yes, they do give you a blueprint and they form the foundations of how you respond and react to relationships right the way throughout your life. But again, you know, it doesn't mean that it has to dictate you, because if you didn't really have, you know, a really good connection when you were younger, that doesn't mean to say that you're never going to have one.
Yeah.
Because we continue to make really key attachments to important people throughout our life. So
That's only normal, isn't it?
It is normal, it is. But ultimately, it's about you being able to recognize those patterns in your responses to people. So we say generally there's kind of 4 main attachment styles, and the kind of the predominant one is a secure attachment style. So that would be when you are really kind of validating and receptive and showing that two-way relationship, and you know, you have your feelings validated, you acknowledge your self-worth, you acknowledge the self-worth of others. And then we go on to kind of, there's 3 insecure attachment styles, and this is what's really interesting, that we see them coming out in relationships as well. So this is where your love language would come into play. So we generally see anxious attachment styles.
How would you describe that?
So an anxious attachment style is somebody who may be consciously worried that their partner is going to leave them. So they may kind of worry about where they are. They may constantly seek reassurance from them all the time. They may appear quite needy. They may want to be around their partner all of the time, and just that. And, you know, we're not to say that there's anything bad about this. Sometimes those behaviours can be unhealthy, but if you can manage them in a healthy way, there's nothing to say that there's anything bad or wrong about this particular style. It's just about noticing sometimes what behaviours are unhealthy, because if you are constantly seeking validation and reassurance of somebody else, that can maybe push somebody away sometimes.
100%. I think that's most of the times it can lead to you not necessarily losing people in your life, but pushing them away and not getting the opportunity to get as close as you could to that person because you've had shown this type of behavior at the beginning. Especially, we're not talking couple of years into a relationship, we're talking at the beginning, especially because these little signs do come out quite early on. In my previous relationships, I've noticed signs at the beginning where I didn't really think anything of it. I thought it must just be, I don't know, nerves, or it must just be because they're getting used to me, but as you go along in your relationship, you realize that these are signs that you've had from the beginning that you've not acknowledged as much.
Yeah.
And how do you then, obviously you've gone through all this time of just noticing something, but then then you feel like it's too late because you've let it go for such a long time and not said anything.
Yeah.
You've not verbalized it to the other person. Hang on a minute, I think you're a little bit too much here and you don't have anything to worry about. Is that pure just making sure that you are there for someone and say, I've got you, don't worry? Or
it's really difficult to say, because on the other hand, you've got different attachment styles as well. So the other insecure attachment style would be an avoidant attachment style. So and I'll bring it back around in a moment, but an avoidant attachment style is the opposite. So it's somebody who's quite scared of that connection, who keeps people at arm's length, who maybe doesn't want to be around the partner that much, who's really, really independent, so really quite shy of sharing their feelings or displaying affection. And again, that kind of stems from your experiences when you were younger. You know, were emotions spoken about in your home? You know, or was it that kind of that stiff upper lip, you know, or boys don't cry, or we don't show our emotions because it's weakness, and that kind of puts a barrier up to us being able to express ourselves, and that pattern continues throughout our life. So if you have an avoidant attachment style meeting an anxious attachment style, you've got a problem. Basically, you've got somebody who wants to keep someone at arm's length, and you've got another person who needs that connection, who needs that reassurance, and that can be where we see problems. However, if that's not to say that those two types of people can never be together and never be happy, because it's about acknowledging your behaviours and your triggers and your responses. So if you were kind of thinking, you know what, I do fit into that category, you know, I'm recognising that I do push people away and I do like to be independent and maybe I don't like to show my emotions, then it's about thinking how that then impacts those relationships around you. And if that's having a negative impact on those relationships around you, then it's about owning that and thinking, okay, well, I can't control anyone else's reactions, but maybe I can control, you know, myself and my own behaviours, and try and be a little bit more open.
Can you have both of them?
You can. So that's the other attachment style. So the third insecure attachment style is a bit of both.
I think I land into that one, you know, because just listening to you then talk about it, I'm thinking, I think I've got a bit of both, because I can be quite emotional and quite needy in certain situation, but at the same time I can just be super like cold. But then again, we go back to connection. you will, when I'm close to someone or I really, really appreciate and love someone, I've got a bit of both at the same time, because it's almost that fear of like, oh, no, I don't want to show too much. But at the same time, I'm dying to show them that affection. So I think that's why I thought in my head, oh, I think, yeah, definitely I've got both.
But also as well, don't forget our experiences through life will have an impact on this as well. So it's not just your attachment style or your love language that will dictate how you behave or respond in relationships. So really great example what you've just given me then. You know, you really want to show affection, but you just can't for some reason, and that could be for many different reasons. You know, people have been hurt in the past, may not want to open themselves up again for fear of being hurt or fear of rejection, and that's necessarily not just linked to your attachment style. That's just how you've been treated in the past, for
Your
example, your
experience,
experience. So it can come down to lots of different things, but we can have a mixture of the two insecure attachment styles as well. And that can be really difficult to manage, because you're constantly in conflict with yourself.
Yeah, that's to be honest, that's how it feels, because you, like I've just said before, you just kind of don't know where you are. One minute you want to be so loving and kind and, I don't know, a hugger.
Give me some love.
Yeah, give me some love, baby. But, or you could just be like, oh, I don't know, they're getting a bit too close, this is getting a bit too serious, I don't want to get hurt. Ultimately, that's what it is. I think, I mean, everyone, I can guarantee you, is scared of getting hurt. Like, even if they don't admit it, you can have as many experiences in relationship as you can have. I think opening your heart to someone, it's a scary thought, and there only can be that fear of, well, I've opened a part of me that not a lot of people can get, and what, I'm gonna get hurt. It's like your alarms, just like an alarm system is just going, oh my god, I can feel it that I'm opening up. So now I go, oh.
And you close back off again. Yeah. And ultimately what would be an ideal situation is that you have a partner that is able to recognize that, and you work through it together. So relationships, it isn't just there's one person out there for you and that's your soulmate and you're going to live happily ever after.
Oh God, it's not that easy, is it?
It's not that easy.
It's not that, no.
Absolutely not. And, you need to have that person that is also willing to work on themselves and be acknowledging that, the other person has their flaws and they're working with them too. And that's where you get that real, true collaboration in a relationship. That companionship is when you can understand and give people the space to be able to kind of work through their own past.
So like, for an example, like if I've got a partner that is quite affectionate or wants a lot of affection, and I start being a bit like, this is a bit too much, it's pretty much him or her recognizing that you're going into that space and just being, maybe, babe, I've got you, it's fine, I love you, and if you need to talk to me, please do, rather than just maybe not acknowledge it at all. Is that what, it's a good example?
It is a good example, but it's really important as well for that person who may be withdrawing to also acknowledge that they're doing it and that's a pattern within them, rather than, is it a pattern or is it that you are actually withdrawing from that relationship? Because that can be true as well. We're not saying that all problems in a relationship are down to attachment style. Absolutely not. We're talking about attachment style and recognizing and working with that love language when people want to be together and they want to do the work. But ultimately, if somebody's withdrawing for other reasons, then that's a difficult conversation to have, and that's a different conversation to have, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh God, you've really caught me off guard there, because I was in my thoughts then. I was thinking, oh God, just all these flashbacks of all these situations and scenarios just play in my head now. And that's what we're like. We have these conversations and I just sit here and just think, oh my God.
Yeah.
You make so much more sense. Like, what is going on? Why did I not know this before? Like, it's crazy how just a little conversation like this can just open another, almost like...
But it's self-awareness, and ultimately, you know, that's what we're all here to kind of to do. We're all here to be better versions of ourselves, and it comes back down to exactly what we were saying in the first episode. You know, you can't change other people. All you can do is acknowledge maybe the patterns of responses or the patterns of behaviors that you have, and if it's particularly linked to relationships, for example, because we're talking about relationships, do you maybe have some patterns that you display in relationships that could be self-sabotaging your relationship?
Yeah, oh God, that's a good point. It's just being aware of how you're behaving around someone, and it's a hard thing to do, though. I feel like that's probably the hardest thing in a relationship, is recognizing patterns.
Oh, absolutely. Or acknowledging you're wrong.
Especially if you're stubborn.
We are both really stubborn as well.
Oh God. Yeah, I am.
Mind you, you can be quite forgiving though as well, can't you?
I'm
quite
stubborn.
accepting.
I'm very stubborn when it comes to like certain things, but only when I know I'm right. I'm quite cheeky with that when it comes to it, because I will not start an argument if I've not got a point ready for you. Like, I will not be that person that'll just be like, you this and you that, and
yeah,
I've already got it all sorted out in my head. I know I'm right. I won't start something until it's kind of like
but then again, I think that means that you're really reflective in actual fact of how you respond to people, and that is a really good quality, because not a lot of people do that. So quite often what people will do is they'll just react. So they'll react on an emotion. So if they're triggered by something, they'll just react straight away without even thinking about it. Whereas what you're saying there is, what you do is actually you'd sit back first and you'd take stock of what's happening and think, well, have I actually got a point here to be able to respond back or not?
It's pointless otherwise.
Exactly. And, you've just hit the nail on the head, because all that does is that reinforces cycles of, maybe that negative, those arguments, those negative cycles, that animosity. If you're constantly responding to things from an emotion, then you're not giving yourself enough credit or enough time or enough space to be able to respond truthfully to yourself.
And honestly, I think that it comes down to, again, self-awareness and knowing. Usually, what an instance, like if I'm going to have an argument with someone, usually is a bit of a prolonged thing. It doesn't just happen out of nowhere. Like, we were having the best time and now all of a sudden we're arguing. It's more something that slowly creeps in and it's coming. So for me, it's almost like all of this time that I've had to process things, I'm thinking about it. I'm constantly just thinking how to improve things, how to communicate. So when you do have that argument, this is where my point comes across, because I've already thought about it. So it's not just like, bleh, like, oh, I'm just gonna, because I'm angry.
Have you communicated it before that
this is where I think my problem comes into play, because maybe those times that I have thought it, have I actually communicated it with that other half? Have I said, listen, I've been thinking about this, I've noticed that we're a bit on edge, or something this, or this has bothered me, or, because I am a very forgiving person. That's one thing I've noticed. A lot of people in the past have done me wrong, and I've genuinely turned around and said, you know what? That's fine. Everyone makes mistakes, as long as you're sorry and, we can work from here. I'm absolutely okay with it. It's only when people don't acknowledge it at all. So they're just like, oh, yeah, I've done this and I've made a mistake, but that you can really see that they're not sorry.
And that's where our boundaries come into play. That's where we have to be really quite clear about what we're okay with and what we're not okay with. Because particularly if you're a person who's going through this journey of, you know, we're talking about self-reflection, we're talking about being the better version of ourselves. And if you're on that journey, yeah, we're not perfect. Yeah, we all make mistakes, but it's about always being able to recognize them and trying to be better. If you're with somebody who is the opposite of that and who doesn't maybe recognize their patterns and they do have that quite rigid thinking, maybe they're always right, maybe they're really, really stubborn, maybe they're unwilling to kind of see your point of view, that puts you then in a really difficult position because you can't change that person no matter how hard you try. So yeah, you can try and make them see, you know, the better journey. You can try and help them to come to the realization that, you know, they maybe should be doing the inner work and thinking about their triggers, but you can't push somebody down that path. They have to go down the path themselves. And then ultimately you have to then make a decision about if that is really serving you. Is that harmful to your well-being by being with somebody who is not aligned with your values?
What do you think about emotionally unavailable people? Like, how do you even like have a communication with people like that?
So emotionally unavailable is what we would call that avoidant attachment style.
So that's where it goes under. Yeah.
So to be emotionally unavailable, really what you're saying is they're not really in tune with their emotions, or maybe they're pushing their emotions away for whatever has happened to them in the past, be that, you know, their early experiences or later experiences in relationships. So you can be really understanding, particularly if you're quite a secure, confident person and you're secure in your own self-esteem and your own, you know, confidence levels and your own self-worth, then, you know, you can try and help, you know, unlock that person's emotions by showing them affection, by creating that safe, secure space. Because ultimately, when somebody's emotionally unavailable, they're scared of showing affection for the response that it's given them in the past. So if you can show them that that response isn't scary and that, you know, expressing emotions can be, you know, a really lovely thing in a relationship, particularly in a secure, happy relationship, then gradually over time that can be broken down. But it has to be done with love, with respect, with understanding, and a lot of hard work, particularly, and patience on the other person's side as well.
Because that's kind of close to my heart, this whole emotionally unavailable, and because you could like someone so much, and you know, both sides, and you can admit it to each other, like, I really like you, you know, I get on with you, we are connecting really well, but you can notice that they're emotionally unavailable, and at that point you can almost only do so much.
You can almost only do so much. And, you know, it's what I said, it's everybody's boundaries are going to be different. You know, somebody may be, you know, really secure in themselves and think, you know, I really want to try with this person because in actual fact, all of their other qualities are what I really value in a partner. And
are there, basically.
They're there, yeah. And if it's only, you know, maybe they don't celebrate Valentine's Day, or they don't tell me I'm beautiful, or they don't bring me flowers, but they do maybe show love in different ways, then that, you know, you have to think to yourself, that could work for me. But for other people, that might be a complete line in the sand. You know, that might be their complete boundary. Well, I need to be shown affection in a certain way, otherwise I don't feel like I'm worth anything, and that really impacts my self-esteem, because I place high value on somebody being really affectionate with me because that's who I am. So it really is down to that individual person and where their boundaries are.
I think that's again, there's a big issue there where people struggle with it. It's accepting it. When someone said to you, this is my boundary, you know, I don't like this and I don't like that, you need to then accept it because that is their boundary. So at that point, you're not going to go overboard and try and work even harder to convince them that you could be this because I love this and this is how I want to be shown love. And I genuinely think a lot of people, most of the people struggle with this, is going, okay, maybe it comes down to the fact that you're not as confident. So you can't just stand there and be like, okay, well, that's their boundary. I'll step back now. I'm confident enough that I can walk away. And that is what they want from a partner. And I'm not it because of it.
Yeah.
And I think that comes down to confidence, being confident to know your worth in a way of, well, I can't just be sticking around and trying to convince someone that I'm good enough or I'm worthy or whatever it might be. It can be anything. But I think that's where the problem lies, where you just, some people can't accept it and just don't know how to move past it.
And that's really sad, isn't it? And it's really, especially when you see this happening with your friends as well, and you really want to grab them and scream at them and say, you're worth so much more than this, you know. But it can be really difficult for people to accept, you know, that they are worthy of love or they do deserve better. And it all comes down to their experiences and their experience of past relationships or their experiences from when they were younger. So it's really, really important that we are all aware of how we are with other people, because we're so quick to blame other people, particularly in relationships, you know.
God,
I've not done anything wrong. That's my one.
Yeah. What are you on about?
I generally haven't, though. Never.
Yeah. No, I don't know what you're saying. No, but it's interesting because the dynamic of relationships, for example, I've had experiences in the past where the person's great. They're not a bad person. They just don't know how to navigate me in a way of like how I want to be loved or how I want to be shown respect or how I want to be validated. And they can be an amazing person on the outside and be really respectful. And, you know, it's not all about, oh, you deserve better or, you know, this person's so bad because they don't know how to show you love. Because a lot of people go into that rabbit hole of just going, oh my God, he's awful or she's awful because they've not been able to show me one thing that I've wanted from them. And it's like, hang on a minute. They're not that bad because they're only not being able to show you love the way you've perceived love and how you want to be shown love. They're actually a really nice person. They've got good values, you know, they work hard, they committed to certain situations. But I just think it's being, again, we go back to self-awareness. It's being able to say, hang on a minute, I'm not going to just, you know, say to this person, you awful, and put their confidence down just because they're not meeting my standards.
And meeting my needs. And it's all about kind of thinking, okay, well, have I got any triggers? So we're back to this word of triggers again, aren't we? And it's how do I respond to that trigger? And is it really a trigger or is it something inside me that's making me feel uncomfortable? You know, is it a behavior that in actual fact that other person is doing that's unacceptable, it crosses my boundary? Or is it a behavior that really is okay, it's just triggering something in me that's uncomfortable that maybe I need to address? So it's not them and their behavior, but it's something inside me that is bringing something up.
Oh shit. Oh God.
And it's all about compromise as well.
Oh my God. Yeah. Again, if you guys think you're ever going to be in a relationship and you'll never have to compromise, then you're living on the wrong planet. I think we all have to compromise at one point. And if, you know, nothing, like you said, your soulmate and this, and you're going to, like what I am, like, I want to stumble over across the street and like fall in love and be like,
find my prince or
romantic
princess.
and like love at first sight. And I mean, yeah, great if it does happen, like brilliant. But in this world that we live in now with dating sites and things like this, I just think that we're just lost that magic and spark of what love is and what it should be.
Question. Do you think that there's one person for everybody out there? There's just one soulmate for everybody out there?
I think I'm 50-50, you know. I think there's definitely someone out there for you. And when I'm saying this, because I don't want people to perceive this in the wrong way. When I'm saying this, I'm saying it in a way of, if you just met them, example, you just met them, you really clicked with them, you connected to them in a completely different way that you've never connected with someone. Like for myself, able to be affectionate with someone straight away, it's like, whoa, you are my soulmate, because I can't do that normally. So for me, if I'm able to be super close to you straight away when I met you and I'm connecting with you in this type of manner, it's almost like it makes me think, oh my God, they must be my soulmate, because what the hell? Do you know what I mean? But then obviously it plays into what other, you know, values they have, and then the bloody checklist comes out. Then where the shit goes down. It's like,
have you got this? Have you got that?
Yeah, it's like my soulmate, and there's like,
however,
it's
you
like,
just need to make sure.
do you know what my first one is? You normally, like, I can suss someone out like this. I know straight away. I speak about my children. As soon as I've started speaking about my children and they've like not engaged in that conversation and not asked me questions about my children, or when the first time they see me, they just ask me things about me, or, oh, you're gorgeous, oh, you're this, oh, you look great. If you've not asked me about my children, it's almost, well, I come with my children.
Yeah.
It's a unit. So you need to be able to acknowledge my children in my life and speak to me about them, because like 90% of my life is my children. So if you're going to speak about something, it's going to be half the time about them.
Yeah, that's such an important quality though, isn't it? Because what that shows about somebody else is that they're not just surface level, it's that they're actually considering what they're going to say. They're thinking about what they're going to say before they say it. So it's actually meaningful conversation. There again, they're not just reacting or responding to an emotion.
What's on the surface, basically.
On the surface,
yeah.
They're not just thinking, oh, there's Elise. Oh, you look good, babe.
No, but it's true though, isn't it?
Yeah.
For me, I've got few things on my list that they're like, they have to be there, like good values, respect, and just confidence. And when I say confidence, people get this wrong. They're like, oh yeah, but not everyone can be fit, and it's nothing to do with the physical aspect at all. And I'm also not talking about the loudest in the room, because I hate people that are super loud.
Do you know what? Somebody can be really visually appealing but have a really ugly personality.
100%. I mean, the amount of people that I've met in my life that were a 10 out of 10, and I just thought
10 out of 10.
They've opened their mouth and I went, I can't speak to you. You basically, your personality is like cardboard. I don't know where to, like, there's no wittiness. Like, I don't want the biggest joker, but you need to be witty. You need to be quick. Like, give me something that I can just throw back at you. Because I can be quite witty, can't I? It can be like, it can go really quickly into something that you just think, oh my God, how did we get here?
Yeah, and we have to rein you in sometimes, particularly. Yeah.
Particularly. What What do you mean, Kay?
I'm not even going to elaborate because I'm not drawing you in.
No, don't do that, because as soon as you've done that, then that's it.
Yeah.
We can't stop. I can't stop then.
The group chat can't stop. It's never coming out.
Last night, guys, we've had a really funny conversation. It was between me, Kay, and Katie. And our group chat is called Strong Arm.
You know what? I can't.
For a specific reason. I won't go into it. But the conversation that we had last night.
I am like glaring at you now, thinking, where the hell is she going with this?
I literally just thought, I'm not going into too deep with it. But it was almost like it started from such a simple thing. And I just went, at the end of the conversation, I just went, wow, this can escalate really quickly.
Really our conversations can escalate really quickly.
From the stupidest thing. It doesn't even have to be anything particular. It can just be like anything. I can't even mention the name, because if I mention that word, it will trigger you straight away. I nearly said it then. It's like, it can be from, because as soon as I'll say it, we're done. We won't be able to stop laughing. That's it.
We really won't. But you know what? This just highlights. Don't do it. This highlights the importance of having other relationships in your life. So we've just been speaking about relationships and, you know, the difficulties that we can have in relationships, particularly if you've got low self-esteem and low confidence. And for me, it's about, okay, well, if that is something that you're thinking, you know what, that's me, how can we overcome that? You know, having really good friends around you is something that is really gonna help, isn't it?
It's vital. I think it's one of them things I'm not saying go and make loads of friends just for the sake of making friends. I'm saying the friends that you do have, make sure that you pay attention and you try your best to be their friend and be there for them and support them in every way possible. Like, one of my friends might not be able to support me in the same way that I support them. Mm-hmm. Like, we're talking helping them out with something that they're really struggling with, organising their house, I don't know, doing things like that for them.
Organising my kitchen.
It's happening, babe. It's happening.
That would show me just how much of a good friend you are.
I know. Guys, I promise you I'll organise a house.
Make a reel out of it as well. Yeah. So, but also it's really important, isn't it, that you acknowledging our attachment style really extends to our friendships as well. So maybe, you know, our friends aren't as available or aren't particularly showing us that they care in the same way. And it's just about being mindful, isn't it, about how other people are and how you're responding in certain situations. It always comes back down to that. But you're right. I just wanted to pick up on the point about, it's not about go out there and get as many friends as you can. No. But it's about maybe putting yourself out there, pushing yourself out your comfort zone, opening up your social circle a little bit, which is where obviously we met. Like, none of this would have come about if we hadn't have done that ourselves. So we both met, didn't we, at Pilates? We mentioned it
in Formby.
Yeah, we mentioned it really, really briefly in our first episode. But for us, that was something that we pushed ourselves out of our comfort zone. Yeah. We started a Pilates class, you know, really.
I was petrified.
Yeah, I was too. And it was something that we'd not done before. You know, you came to a completely different town, didn't you, to start that?
Yeah. Well, it's not very far. So we've actually not mentioned where we're from. Yeah. But basically where we go to Reformer is in Formby, and it's about 10 minutes, 15 minutes for me drive from Southport. And I thought, well, I want to go and try something different, see how I get on. Even although it's I love that journey, you know, I love the little, you know, I blast the music to hype me up for Nicole killing me. And then I literally afterwards, I'm like this, oh my God, I need like a 15-minute drive to be able to walk, to get up the stairs, to go home. Because half the times you can't walk afterwards. It's really, it's one of the things that I want to mention to any women that want to start something. Like, if you're scared of going to the gym is a very scary place for women. I feel like it can become quite overwhelming. if you don't know where to start, I would even advise starting like at home, just doing floor Pilates and see how you get on.
Yeah.
But it's one of them exercises for me, a sport that it's changed everything, the game for me. And I've always been a sporty person. I've used to be a runner. You know, I went to the gym, played tennis. You know, I'm always involved in sporty activities. But I found Reformer to just be, it worked for me in so many ways that even my body transformed after having 2 children. That's a big thing again.
It is a big thing. And to be fair, it really worked for me as well. But I think aside from the fitness side of it, what it also brought is an opportunity for connection with like-minded people. And I think that can be...
It's a very intimate place.
It is a very intimate place, but it doesn't just have to be kind of a Pilates studio. I think if you're struggling with not having many friends or feeling lonely or lacking that connection in your life, it is about thinking about starting something that you're going to be interested in and meeting those like-minded people that you'll find when you put yourself out your comfort zone and start exploring new things.
Yeah.
And that was really key for us with Pilates.
Well, that's how that brings me back. Oh God, I'm going off the subject here. Of course I am. But it brings me back to when we started training in M Gym in Formby.
Yeah.
And I think we were like 2 sessions in. The 3 of us, we were training with Katie. And that's when I found out that you're a psychologist.
It was. It really
and
was.
I didn't, because we knew each other for a very long time in Reformer, and we spoke, and you know, we did like little things together, took the cheeky selfie and things like that. But it's when we started doing more things together that we both enjoy and said, do you know what? I think it's great we're doing Reformer and everything, but let's try something a bit different. And I remember this so clearly. We were in a squat position, guys. Because, you know, everyone's wondering how this podcast happened. We were in a squat position, and Kate mentioned to me that I'm actually a psychologist. And I just went, what?
I still remember your face. It was like...
I literally just went, I stopped and I went, I can't think anymore. Right, tell me more. I wanted to know everything there and then. And I remember even like, we got told off for that. I was like, girls, what are you doing now? Like, what the hell? And I was like, no. At this point, I don't even care. Like, I just want to sit down and know what's happening, because that, again, was something so close to me. Yeah. Like, my interest in psychology and everything that comes with it. I was like, oh my God, there's this girl that I get on with that not only we've got 90% of the stuff in common, now she's a psychologist as well. I was like, fuck.
And I've never got rid of her since.
No, that's it. Sticking around, guys.
No, I was just laughing, and she was saying that then. I was just thinking all of our like really deep, meaningful conversations or points in time, we've always been in really compromised positions.
Oh no! that no, I can't. This has triggered me now. Yeah. No.
It's so true though.
Compromise position, guys. That's where you make your decisions.
That's where the best ideas come from.
Oh God, no. This is funny actually, but yeah, it's true. It is really true, isn't it? All of our decisions have weirdly been made then.
The podcast was, mind you, that was over night time, wasn't it?
No, but we literally started the conversation in a squat position, and then it was 2 nights after that.
Was it?
Yes, it was 2 nights after that was been playing on my mind, and I was like, oh my God, imagine the conversations we can have that we already have half the time.
Yeah.
And it kind of just, again, like going back to what you said, is spending time going to these places with people that have things in common with you. And that's how you make friends. I don't know. It doesn't just happen like with no effort. That's another thing. You're not going to become best friends with someone by doing nothing.
Yeah.
And not doing things together or having things in common, or values, like respecting each other. Like, what's your values in your day-to-day, like with your family, with your children? It's so much that comes into play with it that, you know, people, again, can be quite afraid at opening up.
Yeah. putting themselves out there.
I'm an open book. You know what I'm like. You know where you stand with me. I'll say some silly stuff sometimes that you think, oh my God, she said that and she's only known me for. But that's what I'm like. I just feel like I'd rather give that out at the beginning because then you know what I'm like. So you know exactly what it's there.
That's really important though, isn't it? Because that's one of your values and that's one of my values as well. So being honest and being open. We said this, didn't we, at the beginning? They're really important to us.
Yeah.
Whereas to other people, that might be really difficult for people to accept or to take or to even be honest because they may be afraid of the repercussions.
But then again, being afraid that somebody's going to reject you, I'm not being funny, guys, but if they're going to reject you for who you are or what your values are, they're not for you.
Yeah, and that's so
They're
true.
really just, it literally is. I know it doesn't sound as simple as I'm saying it, but it is that simple. If your values are so, like, I don't know, like for me might be honesty and just being upfront. If you can't, I don't know, like that about me, I can't be your friend because we're always going to clash. It's going to be a continuous clashing scenario where you just think, well, this is who I am. Like I can't change myself just for the one friend. You can tone it down and be a bit more, you know, she's a bit more sensitive. What I'll do this time, I might not just throw honesty at her straight away, but get her there to the point that I am still being honest, but in a kind way. But if there's a person that cannot literally accept any honesty from someone, then just let them go.
But this is really true in relationships as well, isn't it? And it's kind of, I'm thinking, a really nice question. Maybe it's nice is not the right word actually, but a really nice question. Interesting question is, what do you do in relationships as well if your values don't match? Now, what is really, really common is maybe you meet someone.
You see me smiling already.
Maybe you meet someone and maybe, you know, at first your values do seem quite similar. And people change, don't they? People grow, people evolve, and people can go down different paths. And, you know, quite often our values do change when we get older. You know, we become not different people, but we grow, don't we?
Yeah, of course.
We acknowledge that maybe some of our patterns or some of our, you know, thoughts of what we thought were acceptable, where, you know, we change basically. What do we do if that other person...
I think this is really big. Again, it goes back to honesty. Now, when I said, you know, this social media situation with dating at the moment, dating sites and everything, it's such a hard time for people to date. I think it's never been harder because everything's done in such a superficial way that when you meet someone, you almost don't show your true colors straight away. So you end up dating this person so many times. You have no idea what they're like, what their values are. Like, I don't want to come across too forward or I don't want to be like, say what you mean from the beginning. Say your values. That's why you're meeting that person face to face. Again, when you are over messaging and swiping left and right, because that just infuriates me. How can you date someone by swiping left and right when you're literally just judging them by their looks?
Appearance.
You don't know anything about them until you met them in person. They can be telling you anything over the phone and over a message until you meet them. And you get that vibe of someone. Your gut feeling says it all. Listen to it, guys. It's not like they can be telling you, yeah, I'm very loyal, I'm very trustworthy. Tick, 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 tick. I love your children. Tick. You know, things like this. They can be saying anything and not actually mean it.
I feel as though we've just kind of scratched the surface of a whole new episode. Because dating websites, how you're presenting yourself.
I don't agree with it, guys. I'm just going to put it out there. Straight away.
I'm kind of, you know, whatever people really want to do is
what works
really,
for you works for you, doesn't work for me.
Works for you. But I really think that can be a whole focus of another episode, because I really want to wrap up by asking you a really funny question, if that's okay.
Go
I'm going
on.
to throw it on your toes.
Oh no, you've not spoken to me about this before. What's going on?
The funniest part.
Oh shit.
I want you to tell me your funniest dating story.
Oh my god. Like ever? Funniest ever?
Or just one you can remember, because now
I've got loads
You know what?
actually.
Oh, loads. How many dates have you been on? Well, do you know what? As I'm asking you though, I'm thinking, shit, she's going to ask me and I haven't got one back.
Oh shit! No, go back. I don't want to ask you that question now. Yeah, right, Kay. Put me on a spot. I think the one that I can remember very clearly, which I can feel the emotion, I can remember the emotion because I was laughing my head off. And when I say I was laughing my head off, I was hysterically laughing because I do also have a nervous laugh. Yeah. So I was actually quite nervous in that situation. And when it happened, I was just like, oh my God, what the hell? So basically, I think we were on our second date at this point. And
I don't know why I'm laughing already.
I was on my second date and, it's all great. And you've just, I've only seen him once before. So it was not like I knew him very well. And we got out of the car and we were chatting and he was just like looking at me and everything. And he just walked straight into a lamppost.
No way.
I am not joking, guys. I'm not making this up. This is real. I can even confirm this. Like, he literally, and I'm not saying,
smack.
Full on walked into a lamppost. His whole face was red. His ears were red. And instead of me going like, oh my God, babe, are you okay? I just went, oh my God, what the hell?
You give me the ick.
Do you know what? In all seriousness, if anything, it did the opposite. I found it so endearing. Not only that this guy walked into a lamppost, because he was looking at me and I just went, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Obviously, I'm not laughing at you because, I'm laughing at the situation. And do you know what? That got him the third, fourth, fifth date. It's like, guys, go walk into lamppost,
everyone. You've heard it here.
But it was a thing of just like, it was such a weird thing. It's never happened to be, in all seriousness, yeah, I've tripped before on a date and because I'm quite clumsy, or I've dropped something, or like I got caught onto like, especially my hair gets caught always in the door of the car. So when I get in, if it's really windy, I'm like, oh, and especially if they're closing the door for me, I'm like, babe, my hair is stuck outside. It's like this, a bit of hair like strand like this outside. But it was almost just like, it's never happened to me. It was so quick because it was a matter of seconds. Like it just happened, and we just got out of the car. So it was like that first, you going to the restaurant together, so it's your nerves when they kick in. And I was just like, oh my God, babe. I was just like, I am sorry, obviously, because this is really embarrassing for you, but even now when I speak to this person about it, we just have a laugh, and it's really funny. But yeah, like I just think, guys, just be yourself. If you're nervous, so what? It's people are gonna love that part of you. Like I just found that super endearing, and that got me to the point of wanting to know that person a bit more and giving them that chance, or the next day, or some people would just be like, oh my God, absolute tool.
Actually, I have just thought of one now that
have
you got one. I've got one. I have got one. So I went to the cinema with somebody who was wearing a white t-shirt. And you're in the cinema, it's really dark. It's pitch black. I'm picturing this now.
Oh my God.
And when we walked out, they'd been eating chocolate ice cream. And they literally had chocolate ice cream right the way down the front of their top.
All the way down?
All the way down.
Not just like a dot?
Not just like a dot. And we were going to be going out after it. And honestly, I just couldn't stop laughing, but I was also secretly thinking, ew.
No, we're not. You should have just said, oh babe, I'm really tired. Right, so the next point is don't wear a white t-shirt at the
eat
cinema.
chocolate ice cream on a first date.
And walk into a lamppost. Oh my God.
But, do you know, again, I really, really enjoyed this episode.
We could go on for hours.
We've gone over an hour again.
Oh my God, I know.
We did say that we're going to try and keep it under an hour.
I don't think we can.
No. But we've got so much to speak about on our next episode as well.
Yeah.
And as always, keep your questions coming in.
Yeah, we'll put a bit of a question box on our stories because we want more specific topics about relationships. So even although we will, over the next episodes, cover everything, we want to know something that's really important to you, or if you struggled with that specific issue, or something like this, we want to know, because looking through them gives us a better idea how to bring it up in conversations and how to link it to everything.
Saying that though, we still do go off topic. Like, we don't really have a plan for our episodes. We are just really off the cuff, but what you see is what you get. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks
everybody.
again for obviously watching and being here again if you've watched our first episode. But yeah, we'll be posting all our latest episodes in our bios.
We
on
will
Instagram.
Yeah, and we've
got a LinkedIn now, so we've got it's like a link tree, and it's like everything
that was
in.
Amazing, by the way.
Yeah. Because I just thought there's just too many bloody links.
Yeah,
it's like, which one do you know which one it is? So it's easier now.
Yeah, we are on YouTube. We are on Spotify.
Now we're on Spotify as well.
We will be releasing our episodes every Sunday. Hopefully a little bit earlier this time.
They'll be in the morning rather than in the evening.
Yeah. But watch this space.
I know. Watch this space, guys. Bye.